Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück auf die Dokomi 2018 in Halle 16. Ich führe heute tatsächlich noch ein Interview in einer Sprache, die ihr vielleicht alle gar nicht so richtig versteht, aber Englisch ist euch bestimmt ein Begriff, denn ich muss das sogar tun, denn ich habe zu meiner Linken jemanden sitzen, der hat gestern auf der Dokomi einen Workshop gehalten zum Thema Idol oder Ota im Generellen. Und wer wäre ich, wenn ich als eingefleischter Idol-Fan nicht unbedingt jemanden da haben wollen würde? Ich habe bei mir Shellingford. Nice to have you here.
Yeah, nice to thank you for the invitation.
It's my pleasure. So, who are you and what do you do as in general?
Okay, well, basically, I'm still a student actually, but I travel a lot in Europe and also abroad. I've been in Japan for 6 months as part of my study, and there I started going to lives and everything. Like I was an anime fan already before, and then there I actually came to know the artists that actually make the live possible, like the anime possible. So all the seiyuu who work on that, and all the singers who sing the song for the opening, for the ending. I started going to lives, and then I'm still going to lives sometimes now.
So you're originally from Italy?
Yeah, I'm originally from Italy.
So you're talking about lives in Japan?
Yes.
Right? So, how did you experience? How did you get into this whole thing? That's probably a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question, and to be honest, I don't really remember precisely how I got into. Like at the beginning, like everybody else, I watched anime, and then watching anime, I think probably the big turning point was Love Live. Love Live, it's a multimedia project. It's not just an anime. So it started as a strip on the magazine, on the G magazine, and then it developed with a group of seiyuu who also had like a counterpart, a 2D counterpart. Then they came the anime, the game, and the seiyuu started doing lives as their characters. So it was a concept that they took a bit from Idolmaster, a bit from Mickey Holmes, and they started doing lives as their characters. So when you get to know Love Live, you don't just like the anime, you like the whole project.
Yeah.
And you kind of get to know also who's behind the anime, so who voices the girls, who sings the songs. And then from there, I would say, yeah, I just like started following a lot of other groups. And the main one, I would say, well, as you can see, is Clarice.
Yeah, Clarice.
Clarice. And for Clarice, I can say that I went to almost all their lives. I only skipped the first one because it was not in Japan yet, and the last one because I was busy with exams.
So
and I went to all the other women lives of Clarice.
So in Germany, it's still a little difficult. Idolmaster is still not known for whatever reasons, but Love Live is pretty common here. So, but most people just don't realize yet there are actual idols behind it. Yeah. They just know it's an idol anime, but there are idols,
yeah,
real
exactly,
idols.
Yeah. For most people, I say in Europe, Love Live is just an anime as the other. You watch the anime, you either like it or not, and the story is what it is. Like there's no much like thought into the story because the anime is just like a showcase for the project. And the project is about these 9 girls and now 18 girls who sing and dance, and you can see them in real life singing and dancing.
So how close do you think is the gap between the actual anime idol versions and the real idol scene? You experienced that already, so
yeah.
How close is that?
I mean, it really depends on the project. Like I would say like 20, 30 years ago, the distinction was very clear between seiyuu, so a voice actress, she only does voice acting. Sometimes she's singing the opening song, the ending song, but that's it. She doesn't do lives, she doesn't go on stage. And idols who instead like they only sing, they go on stage, but they don't really work as voice actresses, as actresses. They occasionally do that as part of the job, but they are mainly a bit of everything, like a jack of all trade. And yeah, now the distinction became less because then we have like this multimedia project where they design like 2D characters, and they have one specific voice actress taking that role, and there's like they're like close to each other, so one implies the other and vice versa. So you really feel that now. And when you talk about Love Live, when you talk about Muse, you could mean like the 9 Muse character, or you could mean also the Muse unit, which is the 9 voice actresses who voice the characters. And the distinction is not that clear. Are they like seiyuu or idols? And
Yeah, idols in general, a few years ago, yeah, like about 10 years ago, idols in general weren't really accessible. It probably all changed because of the AKB48 wave, I'd say.
I
Because
would say
you
so
could
too.
really
Yeah.
meet idols at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Did you didn't experience that before, but you just went in and
Yeah, I guess. And I also talking about AKB48. They used to be the accessible idols. They are not anymore. The fact,
Yeah.
I've been to Japan so many times. I participated in a lottery for the theater ticket. I cannot even count how many times. Never got one. Like, it's so difficult to find like a ticket to the AKB theater nowadays.
I feel you.
So they used to be like the idols you can meet. And nowadays, there's the idol that you might meet, but probably not.
Yeah, might meet, but probably not. So, I for myself love to visit the mostly underground or indie idols. I myself, I just dressed for the for the purpose.
Yeah.
I'm a very big fan of fairies as well, but also smaller indie idol groups. I brought something with me. Wherever it goes, there we went. There's. I just brought my experiences with me. Many of the groups that are in there don't even exist anymore. Like Inaga Kirina was in Smile Team East, and she now is doing solo in Fukuoka. Friend is not existing anymore. The lifespan of idols are just small, if it's mal. Ja, natürlich. Da mache ich dir gerne. Ich halte es einmal in die Kamera. Hier. Ich blättere That's shaky. It's another thing about handshake events. Because it's another reason to just meet them. Before that, idols weren't just even reachable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, how do you experience the whole thing? It's when you go to lives or even handshake events or smaller groups in general. Do you feel the closeness?
Well, definitely, I feel close. Well, so talking about like concert in general, like for Anison Lives, I was talking about Clarice, and since I've been like a fan of the Clarice from the very beginning, since they like began to do lives, and basically every concert you go, you kind of meet always the same people, so you kind of start to know each other, and then the Japanese fans will just help you out when you want to go there, like to get the tickets, and you start to know also the other international fans. If you like last time I couldn't go, like last concert I couldn't go there, and one of the fans actually got the merchandise for me, and we kind of all help each other in that sense, and you can really feel the closeness in that sense. With the artists who are not in the Anison scene, is not as much. You don't really have a direct contact. And the idol scene, you have a bit more of that, but there are so many fans. But when, like for example, an idol actually recognizes you as a fan, like if you go every handshake event, she knows your face, she knows your name, and that's like a feeling that's...
I know what you're talking about exactly. not just the small ones, just even the big ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The unition of fans is a very important part, because you are as a foreigner as I am, but meeting up at idol events is just they all get to be a whole family in the moment of unition. So, what experiences did you do when you first started off at Lives? Were you warmly welcomed? How was it for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, usually Japanese people are not particularly open. You kind of have to approach them. And in my case, actually, in the Clarice fandom, I was approached by this man who was a fan, and I tweeted about the concert. Like when I went in the first concert, he saw my tweet. He say, "Oh, you come from abroad, and we should know each other and everything." And then there at the second concert, I also knew other fans, like one guy from Australia, one guy from Singapore, and now we all meet each other all the time at every concert.
So you held a workshop about. What was the workshop about?
So the workshop was about lives in Japan in general, and otage and cause and response. So otage is like it's the art of the otaku, right? So it's a very broad term, and it could be like just how you interact with the artist in the concert or outside the concert, and how you basically enjoy the music or whatever.
Most people would say it's heavily interruption of a life, but for the idols it's actually not. What's the special thing about it?
It is a way to interact with the artist, because you as audience, you are a whole group, you interact as one, and you have a direct contact with the artist. Like everybody has their own pen light, and the artist, like if without that, yeah, we can show them.
We even have one here.
Yeah. So the artist basically, like it's dark in the hall. So what she sees is the light, right? She doesn't see all your faces, but she sees this sea of light, and it's
just
a
like
way,
we here now.
Exactly, it's just a way for them to see that you are there for her, for him.
So your workshop wasn't only about otage in general. You also said it was about the etiquette in life.
Yeah, I mean,
could you tell a bit
yeah,
more
exactly.
about
So, well, in Japan, like concerts are a bit different than in the West. Like if you see a video, you see that the response of the audience is very unitary. Like sometimes there's somebody who goes against, but it's mostly unitary. Like, and etiquette is also about that. It's about how to behave in concerts. So know when you, for example, you can shout, when you shouldn't shout, like when there's a pause or when the artist is talking. You definitely shouldn't shout over him.
So it's important. It's important to learn the calls in general.
It is pretty important. Like, well, you can enjoy the concert in however way you want, but if you like want to like go as a group, so being part of the fandom, you kind of have to learn that how to do the calls, so you can be part of the fandom. You can answer the artists as part of a fandom, not just as yourself.
It's not like there are general rules for how to learn.
There are no written rules. It's all about, well, there are a few written rules, like usually in the concert notes. For example, no photos. There's like a written rule everywhere, and a rule that many foreigners it's hard to grasp for them.
Are there any actual guides for otage in general?
There are like a few unofficial guides, like some fandom, they produce call books, which they give away before the live.
That's really a thing, call books.
Yeah, it's really a thing, yeah.
It's not like it's different for many groups. Just there's a base stock of otage movements?
There is, yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, when in J-pop, in pop in general, the song structure is pretty fixed. So the call structure is pretty much like resembles the song structure. So it's pretty fixed. You have some kind of variation, but it's mostly like skills that you can bring for whatever group you want.
Is it for a beginner? Is it difficult to learn, or how would you approach as a beginner?
As a beginner, you just go to the concert and you follow the others. You enjoy your own way.
It's learning by doing.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. Exactly. When I went to my first concert, I knew nothing about it. I just bought like a pen light like the morning of the concert, and I went there, and I just followed the others, and it worked out perfectly. What was your experience for your first live? Aren't you just busy watching what the others do instead of enjoying the live? Oh no! You definitely enjoyed the live, but at the same time, you kind of like you just do, like when everybody shouts, you feel like shouting. Like at I remember. Well, my first live was Animax Music's 2015, I think, in Yokohama.
A big thing already.
It's a big thing. It was like something like a 7-hour concert. I was exhausted by the end, but I still like enjoyed it so much. I remember like this moment when Ultima came out on the stage. They didn't came out on the stage. They came out like from the back of the stage and just run through the audience to the stage, and like the people just got so excited at that point that everybody just like was shouting, and you kind of follow the art, but you don't really like think about what should I do. You just do it.
So, in Europe, and not just Germany, but Europe in general, the whole idol scene is still like so small compared to anime, manga, and similar. Can you slightly imagine why that is? Why isn't it mainstream already?
I guess the concept is like very different. Like the concept of idols, like is very different to get from a Westerner perspective. Like the fact that, for example, the no dating rule. Like most people will ask, why shouldn't they? They should do whatever they want. And in some sense, that's true, but in some other sense, it's their job. And part of their jobs is like non-dating. It's just like when you become a priest, you cannot marry. You know that when the moment you become a priest. So when you become an idol, you know that until you retire, you're not supposed to date.
Oh, that's a very good point to advertise a movie. It's called Tokyo Girls or Tokyo Idols. It's a pretty well made one where these topics are handled. So if you have a chance to watch it, watch it. It's really very high on that topic. So what do you think needs to change for Europe to be able to appreciate it? Because anime, manga, and even parts of the music like J-rock did made its way over here. What do you think needs to change for Europe to appreciate it?
It's kind of difficult because you kind of have to go into the concept of what's being an idol author means, what an idol is, and we often see them as normal artists, like as singers, but being an idol it's very similar to being an anime character in some sense. You are interpreting a character when you're an idol. You rarely get to see the person that's behind that, and you kind of have to appreciate, like to get that you are not like you are not going to get to know the person, but you're going to get to know the idol. And
so for all the people out there who still have questions about idols or Ota in general, they can probably hit you up on Twitter.
Yes, of course. So, well, my Twitter nickname is Shellingford.
Yeah,
so
we had it
yeah,
of
course.
in the searches now. So, is there still anything left? What you would like to send out to probably future idol fans or Ota in general?
Well, just enjoy the way you prefer and do your best. Like it's a nice fandom to be in. Like you get to know a lot of people and you get to appreciate altogether things that you like.
So we are so short on time. I could probably talk hours with you. I already said it's a pleasure to really talk to a fellow idol fan as well on television as well. So I thank you so much that you had the time to be here, and it was really a pleasure to have you here. And I hope we see each other again at some live in Japan.
Yeah, so I will still go around in convention live.
I hope
whenever.
we can keep in touch on Twitter.
Of course.
And yeah. I'll say bye in German now.
Okay.
So. So, das war's für uns, zumindest jetzt gerade. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich für Shellingford, dass er da war. Und ich hoffe doch, ihr seid gleich dabei. Dann habe ich nämlich den Jerome hier von Gaming Aid. Und dann quatschen wir ein bisschen, was die denn so machen. Also, bis gleich.